And our Human Rights Commission. Kennedy, you want to start a roll call?
Just 1 second.
I'm not expecting.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Chris. I'll just wait.
I think that's all.
Okay. Chair Stambaugh,
Here?
Vice Chair Garber,
Here.
Commissioner Lane,
Here.
Commissioner Oel,
Present.
Commissioner Jackson,
Here.
Commissioner Bond,
Here.
Commissioner Cohen,
Here.
Councilmember Gatti Edwin,
Here.
Councilmember Watson,
Here.
Commissioner Meadows, Commissioner Winkler. We have quorum.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
Second. All in favor? Agenda. Any discussion? All in favor? Agenda approved. Public comment. We do not have any. We do not see any. No public comment. Approval of June minutes. Can we have a motion?
Motion.
Need a motion to approve the
I
minutes?
move we approve the minutes from the last meeting, June meeting.
June meeting. Any discussion? No discussion. Let's vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. City Council overview of topics that are of special interest to us. Aisha and Chris?
There's just been so much going on with development and planning, comprehensive land use plan. No real Human Rights Commission specific issues. I will share that housing database that I've shared with you guys before, which would be a public database that you can search for all rentals based upon income size, accessibility features, voucher types, because there's different type of vouchers based on subsidized housing. That's something that I'm still continuing to talk with the city administrator about and working with Kodai on. So we'll see.
Has it been started?
The discussion had started with a vendor in the city, and then there were, some concerns raised by the public, and they were addressed. So I want to meet with renters, and I'll continue to update you guys on it. That's really
Are there any issues about that for us?
There was some issues raised about data privacy and how does the vendor collect information, which I think is really important, and a resolution written, and so we clarified with the vendor, our city attorney did, or is there any truth to some of these issues, and also made an agreement that data would not be taken and used from people who were searching for apartments.
So you couldn't find out how many people were looking for an apartment on the west side or the east side, or that kind of aggregated data?
We could find that out.
You can? Okay.
If this happens and goes through, and this website is set up, it would be basically like apartments, /a2gov.org. So it would look like it's a city website, but a vendor would be hosting it. It's actually the same platform that does CityPads. So CityPads is a company that creates websites specific to college campuses and helping students find apartments.
So it'd be easier for students to find.
Well, there'd be crossovers. So it would be for everybody. And this is a majority renter city, so something like that would be useful. This is something that's been set up in Detroit. And this vendor is actually now planning to work with the city of Detroit to move their platform onto his platform. And it's something that I helped with when I was the deputy director of Detroit Disability Power. And it really helped people who had housing insecurity, who had disabilities, to transition out of that cycle of going to the shelter, then being on a wait list, getting an apartment, going up to it, there's no ramp, ending up back in the shelter. So it's shown to be really promising.
Sounds like it would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But no HRC specific.
Anything else? Chris?
No, that covers it.
Good. Complaints. Overview?
Overview, I believe right now 3 are outstanding. Plus I got an email which was kind of a follow-up to a complaint that was filed about a year ago that an issue might still, with a certain apartment landlord, might still be a problem. So we'll follow up on that.
So we have about 3. Okay.
I can support with the space if you need support.
Okay,
Just let me know.
thanks.
August meeting. Most commissions evidently don't have August meetings, and we didn't have one last year. But when I was asked if we should have one this year, I said, let's schedule it, let's get a room, save it, and we'll bring it up the question. How would you all feel not having one? I know you miss it a lot. But you can talk about it here.
Do we know what date is it?
It is the 13th of August.
I shouldn't vote. I won't be here.
Okay.
So it's
You don't care.
right.
Okay. Would you be okay with my keeping the room for another couple weeks just in case, but assume that, if you want to go on a trip, assume it's not going to happen, and we'll try to make it not happen.
When is this meeting potentially planned for?
August 13th?
Okay, I'll be out of town, just FYI.
Okay.
So I've just heard 2 good reasons not to have it.
Yes, there are a lot of the rest of us want to go out of town.
Highly recommend.
I think we probably won't have one. Okay, that's the internal business. Meeting with the chief of police. Judah, you want to give an overview of that meeting?
Sure. A few of us met with Deputy Chief Patrick McGuire. Chief Anderson was unavailable at that time of our meeting. Just to summarize, stuff that was happening that week and is still ongoing, the various immigration enforcement actions by the federal government in LA were particularly heated they're still heated, but anyway, at that moment. And so we were asking about that, and the city, maintains its policy that immigration law is a federal matter. The city neither enforces nor hinders federal immigration law. So we sort of take a neutral stance, but Deputy Chief McGuire stressed that anyone, regardless of citizenship status or immigration status, should not hesitate to report crime if they're a victim or aware of something, that nothing will come back on them for that. I mean, among the many, intended or unintended consequences of this crackdown on immigrants, some of them have been here their entire lives, is that people are intimidated about going to law enforcement, and so then stuff doesn't get handled as it should, and then there's self-help and so forth. So they don't want that. No one wants that. So people should be clear that the Ann Arbor Police will handle and keep confidentiality of people who are reporting crimes and are victims of crimes to the extent they possibly can. The city follows our ordinances and non-discrimination ordinances and so forth. So that was really the most important takeaway from the meeting. Other than that, we're interested in the preparation for the big No Kings demonstration, which at the time a few thousand had registered. I was predicting that it would be multiples of that, which ended up being about 7,000. And the police were very helpful in keeping the streets clear and keeping the peace. And the demonstrations were, I think, successful. We asked about the status of unarmed response. That is still in the hands of the city administrator. So that's his understanding. That's our understanding. As for trespass, we'd like to get aggregate data. It's not easily sortable in any automated way. It has to be done by hand. So they can do that and will do that for us, but it's not something they can just do a spreadsheet sort for us. But if we want to know if there's any trends on who's being trespassed and various demographics, we can get that, but it wouldn't be done.
Do we have any sense of how many people are involved in some kind of trespass enforcement?
We could get that number. We didn't ask that number.
I'm just, curious about how broad a problem it is.
Just from past history, it's not like very large numbers.
Okay. It used to be, because they used to really dig into people when they were on Main Street. So if the numbers had dwindled, since the shelter is still where it was, that would just indicate to me that people are being treated a little more kindly. And we lost that Liberty Square puzzle where people used to hang out. So I'm wondering, where are folks now?
Right, well, we only get like a little window into it from grievances that are filed around trespass, and we used to get, I haven't seen one of those in a couple of years, where they used to be common.
Yeah.
And as you know, we, those who are new maybe don't know, we got the city to revise their form, so trespass isn't a year. A year was the maximum, and that was like the default number, and it was always a year. And now it can be done for much shorter periods of time, and so we don't know how that's actually playing out. The form is about a year old.
Well, one of the things we do know is that helps some people a lot, some groups, because some groups are set up to help the homeless, and then if they trespass from them for a whole year, that's quite a serious problem. Or being trespassed from the library or from the bus station.
Right.
And then that's how this all started.
Yeah.
Right, and we believe that was a really good reform, but but I don't have any hard numbers as far as how many or what duration or anything. But we can get that, and we can put in.
And we're trying to.
We'll put in a query and see what they can come up with.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And that's basically it.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, actually, I do have the trespass number here from 2024. 25 arrests, 27 charges. Total.
Over what period of time?
From the year 2024.
Okay.
And then this year, 9 arrests and 9 total charges.
9 arrests and 9
total charges. And as you're saying, Keita, it's fallen a lot, because in 2022 it was 52, and now it's down to 24, 25. The peak, I guess, from what they have available was 70,
That's going to make the annual report.
Except for one thing.
What?
There's arrests for trespass, and there's reading trespass, if you remember.
That's what I was going to ask you. So, Chris, those numbers that you gave us, are those people who read trespass, or people who read it and then violated it and were then arrested?
I guess it's a red. I mean, all I have here is a red.
Okay, so I'm guessing those are people that had previously been read, and then they violated the
And then they got
existing
charged.
trespass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So being read is not is not on your record.
Right. No, red is
But it's a
It's
threat.
decent.
Yes.
any attention from law enforcement or other armed persons
Yes. That's true.
is threatening.
That's true. Okay. CTN, I want you to know that I have heard that Pam has arranged a, what do they call it, trailer or?
Banner.
A banner that says something about,
It's in your packet.
it's in the packet? Oh, wait,
It's on the back
thank
last
you.
page.
I didn't see that. I didn't have it. Oh, it's nice. Okay, we'll read it and see. We ought to just look at it, and I think it's on channels 16 and 19. And that's at least something, so people will know that there's a Human Rights Commission. Some people. Business cards. We have business cards. They have, what are these called? QR codes on the back, and they've been tested. They take people right to our website. If you need more, tell me. I've got a whole box of them to give out. What we've done in the past, and what I think you still will have to do, if you're giving it to somebody, is write your name on top of this line, maybe with your phone, with a phone number or some however you want people to contact you. But we're lucky that they will give us ones without names, because they certainly won't give us ones with names. But we have them. Tabling experience. We have tabled this year twice, whereas we have only tabled once and maybe only for 2 years in the back. So we're not great at it, but we're getting better, and we'll get far better if each of you who have tabled will write what things to remember the next time we do it, what worked, what didn't work, what would you like to have to make this more useful, what observations you made. If you write a list, I will compile the list, I will give it to you now, but more importantly, I will make sure it's available next year when we've forgotten all of this and we've at least learned how to do this better. Because if we're going to do it, we might as well make the most of it. And I don't think yet we are making the most of it. I think there's still things we could do.
Well, I actually wondered if we could do something that would get us out of the chair and circulating, with the crowd to really talk about rights. So I was thinking maybe we could create some kind of, a 50-50 raffle, but you get a free ticket if you can answer a question about rights based in Ann Arbor.
Would you please write that down?
But I just want to make sure that's within the range of possibility.
Anything's in the range. I mean, that's in the
good.
range. I don't know about a raffle, but some way we could do this.
Yeah.
Leslie, how would you like that information about tabling experience sent? Like, should we create a feedback sheet and then put that, share that within our team in the drive, or how should we?
We don't have a team in the drive yet, which Brandon and I still have to work on.
I mean, I wouldn't mind creating like a Google Doc that could be shared amongst all of us, and we could add like just ideas of tabling, like how we could table and things like that.
If you would like to do that, that would be helpful.
Okay.
If you do it quickly.
Okay.
But yes, that would be nice. That would be a good way to do it. And I'd be interested in any kinds of comments, what you think, if you think it's whatever. Things that we should start thinking about. And definitely things we should start thinking about in the spring of 2026, when we have to do this again. Okay. Anything else about tabling? HRC webpage. We were talking at the last meeting about how difficult it was to make sense of that webpage. And Linda got frustrated and decided to just change it. Thank goodness, because could have taken me forever. But Linda did it. I sent you a copy of what the website looks like. And I asked you to imagine that you don't know anything about the HRC, but you want something from it. And what is it, just overall, how easy was it for you to find what you thought you wanted to find?
I would say, if we're, you
want
want
to
to
start
with the prompt? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
First of all, I wanted to ask you if you did it, or if you were going to do it, what did you think you wanted to know? If I asked people that they didn't know anything, so
Right.
why did you come to the website? What do you wanted to know?
Okay.
And how many people wanted to have I imagined a violation of a human rights the non-discrimination ordinance, and wanted to file a complaint.
And wanted to do what with it?
Wanted to file a complaint.
Oh.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think we only could pick one scenario.
Okay. I'm just
Okay.
wondering what people thought of originally, because I'm trying to figure out why people come to the website. And because I want the website to match what we think people want to know.
I think it might be interesting to do a couple of things here. I think that the website is a lot of words, and if I'm searching, trying to do quick searches, I think it's a lot to sort through. I think something, if we were to see what are some of our most common complaints, and saying, have you experienced this? Like very much at the top. These are some of the things that we've done, or complaints that we've handled, or whatever that is. And someone's like, okay, that's in the scope of what's going on with me. Let me look more into this, right? Or let me search through, right? Because if I am someone who has maybe no experience with the ordinance or the non-discrimination ordinance, or any of those, I don't really even know what those include, and now I have to go from one page to another to search through that ordinance to see if now, you know what I mean? Like, what are some of the things right at the top that I think that we deal with most commonly, I think is a good way to do it. But that's just me.
Okay.
I think going off of that, like, if we had a little section that said, like, have you experienced any of this? And then very clearly, like, file a complaint. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like the actual filing is still very buried in, like, it's just a link in a paragraph. Like, that's the only link to the form on the whole page, so.
Yeah, I was just looking for that, and I didn't even see where that actually was.
Yeah.
I see links to the but I don't see where link to complaint form was in the right to sit complaint, right? So there are different forms for each type of ordinance complaint, and I think that can get really tricky because someone might be they might be like, well, I don't know. And now they're thinking, okay, well, is it an actual violation of this ordinance? I'm not going to file anything if it's, you know what I mean, this much work kind of thing. So that was my first thought too.
Yeah, I was looking for a big button. I originally thought it was going to be the Ask Ann. Like, if I pressed Ask Ann, I could say complaint.
Yeah, because Ask Ann comes right.
Yeah, it's
big.
right.
It's
Like
the
something
biggest
like
thing.
that would be perfect.
Okay.
So I also felt like the layout is really hard to read if you have any kind of visual difficulty.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
The highlighted and bolded items could be lined up on a left-hand margin, right, to make those easier, or bullet pointed with some space. I also know that personally, I do go to look for things I can download when people ask questions. So to me, one of the most useful things are those flyers. So I felt like for instance, maybe 3 weeks ago, had a conversation with a young woman in Meyer who was leaning. She looked very tired. It would have been great to be able to hand her a right to sit flyer.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like the special Ann Arbor, in particular, right, issues, they could all have flyers. The ID protection could have a flyer. The source of income protection could have a flyer. Making it, and if those are big buttons too, or QR codes places, it just instantly people can get it right away, right?
Yeah, okay.
I think to that, even having like the, ordinances, like at the top, and then you click on the one in order to see all of the information that you're referring to, instead of having it, like you said, looking at this is a lot of stuff to go through.
Yeah. And it's, sorry, but
Well, just
you
mentioned Ask Ann, so I just clicked it. How do I file an HRC complaint? And it gave me a very nice summary of how to do that. So it just
Really?
says, it says to file a complaint with the Human Rights Commission. I said HRC, it knew what I was talking about. You should do the following steps: determine the type of complaint. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It prohibits unlawful discrimination in areas such as employment, housing, public accommodations. Use the online form. You can click here. Here's the complaint form, or you can go online. Here's the other link to the address. Timeliness. Best to file it as soon as you feel emotionally and are physically able to do so safely. While accept complaints at any time. Filing sooner helps. Blah blah blah. Privacy. For more information, and visit the commission page. So it's a nice, quick.
That is nice. I like that.
I just feel like we are still limiting ourselves to a kind of flat two-dimensional space where, we've got buttons, we've got QR codes, we've got all kinds of things that could bring it right to bear. Like that, Ask Ann, if it took you straight to a form or a flyer or whatever it is you might need, that would just be, you couldn't get more accessible.
Well, kind of does. It's this is a form, and then you click on the form, and then you're there. So
Well, no, I was just talking about how you're accessing it. Are you reading, or are you able to just visually, go to it? Because we don't need 50 words if a big button will do. People just respond, and honestly, it's easier, it's visually easier, it's less intimidating. You don't have to read at a particular level.
That's what I was thinking about that when there's all of this too, is reading at a certain level with all that information.
Yeah. I mean, I just have always felt like we reach a particular level of education, and we don't, connect with folks that, for whom just looking at that will make them go,
intimidated.
I may as well.
And those people are probably more likely to be facing discrimination, right? If you're
That's
marginalized
right.
in some way. I think it's like a both and. I think that Ask Ann, that's the AI tool, that's great. But then also having a button that's on top of some big color thing. But there is a service, I think we talked about this before, within the city that does like it's like accessible web kind of auditing. So we can contact, I think probably it's the best place to start would be contacting Sarah Higgins. What do you think, Chris? To just look over the HRC website and be like, can comms audit this for accessibility? And accessibility includes plain language.
The communications department sent me their policy.
No, that was me.
Yes, they sent it to you, and you sent it to me, but I called them, and they sent it to you, and asked, "Hey, had she seen this?" And no, because my request
Oh, no,
was...
I had the policy already.
No, I'm not saying you didn't have it.
Oh.
I hadn't received it. And I had contacted the communications department in the morning to say, we're going to be talking about our website at the HRC meeting, and I have yearned for a couple of months now to understand what guidelines you guys would like us to follow so that, our designs and our discussions can be more productive. And that's when they sent the policy to you. So it is far more open. We can partner with them if we have some ideas but we can't get to the end. They will help us from the beginning, and then if we have any questions, they'll partner with us at the end. There aren't any restrictions on QR codes or any of the old things we might have believed to be true about templates, which is exciting because I think there are a lot of tools that can make this stuff more accessible.
Okay. Any other comments about this? I think we've got to start.
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
so I think-
how can we get these kind of policies more easily?
If you
That was
ask
the
me
thing.
for them, because I have access to them. I said, if you ask me for them, I can.
If we have a discussion, would I just say, hey, is there a policy about this? I did, but I don't think it covered business cards. So we have to think, maybe I'll ask more broadly, because our last conversation was specifically
You
about
wanted
business
the
cards.
layout. I sent that too.
No, the policy about...
I sent the policy out.
I'm trying to say something different. I'm saying, when we hit an area like communications, so I know Pam is working on not just doing that banner, but next she wants to do shows and interviews and things like that. Maybe we can get all the media communications policies. Could we get those?
Yeah, if you just send me an email of which policies you're looking for, I can get those policies for you. You just have to email it to me.
Okay, so if I ask for all of the relevant Ann Arbor City policies related to communications and media, we could get,
You would just have to send me an email.
okay. And we don't have, do we have a database for that stuff? No, never mind, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Nope, mine's gone down.
So
It's-
I think a couple of things that kind of going off the plain language piece is maybe having just like a section with like a glossary, so people don't even know the difference between an ordinance and a resolution. that could switch some things up, or what a human civil right is in the first place as well too. I think it's important with our education system to not make assumptions that people know what some of these terms mean. So even if that's just like its own glossary document that people can go to or something. I think also having a link to sign up for the newsletter. Right now, I think that part is missing, of just like how do you stay informed with this.
It's at the very bottom.
It's also on the side there. It's right there.
Right above Kennedy's name is subscribe to the newsletter.
Okay, my bad.
Nope.
But yeah, maybe.
No, but
maybe
if
make
it-
it
Yeah, I was gonna say though, I think that's
Scroll to the
important,
top.
right? That's
Yeah.
another button. Boom.
That's right.
Right there.
That was one, and then since we have, I guess, a broader range, also thinking about literacy too. If there's any visuals that we can have to like break down either here's the steps or
Yep.
here's what some of these things mean or look like or whatever else.
Is
I
there
think
anybody
that would be
on this
helpful.
commission who's good with
Graphics.
Graphics?
Look, with VEL3,
We'll do it together?
right? What about using VEL3? Can we?
I got the ideas, but
You have the ideas. I have the graphic design skills. We can partner up.
okay.
Leslie's writing it down, so now it's in stone.
Question about
Thank you.
audio files.
Wow. Okay.
You know, it wouldn't necessarily read a whole paragraph, but it could say something, you know, whatever. It could make a statement. It could be an inspiring statement. It could.
Welcome to our website.
Or, you know, in Ann Arbor, you know, or here, there is a government that's on your side, right? I mean, something. I mean, I really do think people need to know that now. It really feels for a lot of folks like
Yeah.
there isn't. I'd be able to say that.
I like that. Anything else?
Just quickly, what do you think is like the best way for us to go about, like, are we just going to submit those suggestions to Kennedy, or like do we make the edits, or like how do we go forward
Good
now?
question.
So,
You mean about this website?
Yeah.
So Brandon and I think Rebecca are gonna figure out like the ideas and concepts that were noted today, and then once you all finalize which ones you guys want on the website, I'll then work with our IT department to try to make those.
Yeah, I more so mean like if we wanted specific text change, like that kind of thing. Like we need like the copy. Like you guys said you're gonna make like a graphic for the.
Maybe if we can make just like a Google Doc for that too.
Yeah, that's a good
Share it
idea.
out, and then
Then we
everyone
all
can
change
say
it. Yeah.
I
exactly.
think we need to think about what you just said and reorganize before we get into the text. That's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? I'm thinking that I don't want to just work on this, but sort of reorganize it, put some graphical thought into it, and then come up with, then go back to the text and see.
But I understood the question, or maybe this is your question, or it's my question. Do we need the group as a whole to vote if we're going to change the text, or can we just run it by you? I mean,
Not
what's the
me.
process for making a final, decision as to whether to amend?
Well, you want
text.
to
I'm fine with the
Group
committee
of
doing it,
people,
but I just want to make
couple
sure we
people
understand the
want to
process.
do it?
Yeah, I mean,
The next step?
I was gonna
just
say-
the text or all of it?
It'd be just like the strategic plan process. You guys would just draft it and then discuss like what you all in detail would like want, and then like you finalized and approved the strategic plan. It'd be just like finalizing and improving the layout of the website.
I was gonna say we could sandbox the website probably, and basically draft out what we want it to
I
look like.
I think that needs to
So,
start.
Yeah,
We need to start with something like
Yeah.
that, and then we'll
yeah.
come back.
Okay,
Then come back
can-
with when you want
Yes,
the words.
I would be
How's
happy
that?
to do that.
Okay, can you start me from the beginning? We're going to start with...
So sandboxing essentially is it's like what you would do if it's a draft, but it's in final form.
Okay.
So if I were to sandbox something, you're seeing what the final would look like,
Okay.
but we're able to edit it as we go. So you're seeing what we would want it to look like as compared to like all of these singular pieces.
Gotcha.
So
That's good.
yes.
I feel like we probably won't be able to do that though, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, we can do it in, like, I've done it in PowerPoint, yeah, and, like, literally take sections of it and say, this is what I want, or, like, in Canva and stuff like that,
Yeah.
so I'm very much maximizing my, my talent here, so.
That's good. Yeah.
So we're talking about the two of you or the three of you? You want to be part of that?
I would like to work on audio clips and a couple, like, video clips.
I don't want to,
So I don't
want to leave
know.
Linda out either.
No.
But I know we can only meet.
But she's interested more in the text, I think, than the...
You know, I know, but assuming we would be working on different parts sort of at
Yeah.
the same time,
Well, I think definitely needing to work in that aspect collaboratively as well, because
Yeah.
I think that if there's something that you're like, this needs to go here, or whatever that looks like, that's where
Gotcha.
it would be. You know what I mean? So as
Yeah.
compared to like singularly doing something, working on it singularly, we would need
Yeah.
to definitely come together and say, this is what this needs to look like, or this is where this should go, or that kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, sorry. I don't mean to like get into like the weeds about this, but something tells me that we probably won't be able to drastically change what the website looks like, which is why I was more concerned with like the text, because I feel like that once we organize like the links and like that kind of, I feel like that is more important. Like really all we'll be able to do is like insert a picture. Like it's not going to be like we're going to be able to like reorganize all of the info.
Well,
you know?
ours looks very different than even the Renters Commission
Okay.
website. So they look very different.
The policy says we can, as long as it is professional and we have some
America's
method to our
website-
madness.
The website manager like we use, they have different, so like there's different like drafted layouts of the website you can use that are already drafted. So like there's some that have it on the left side, right side, but like different layouts like those.
yeah.
Like the city has standardized formatting for web.
But you don't have to follow it. It's not mandatory.
I think that a lot of this conversation back and forth, I think what I would do is I would get together like a master document and put through all your edits and request a meeting, and maybe through Kennedy with someone in comms.
I know, but they will collaborate with us, but I just want to dispel this notion that there is a mandatory use of these templates, because they're limited. You know, they age out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
also
also want to keep in mind too, with the software that we do have, we're also limited to
Yep.
those things as well. So your idea of audio clips may be something that would be useful on the website, but just in case the software we're using doesn't have it, I would then let you know, hey, we don't have the software to
Absolutely, but I never stopped the idea.
No, right.
for
I'm
lack
just
of
saying,
the
no,
tech.
that's
Yeah.
why I said I would
Yeah.
let you know, hey, we're
Yeah.
unable to do audio clips on the website, something like that.
Yep.
So do we have a plan? Do you need
I think so.
more? Or got to start. I mean, we're talking about the beginning.
yeah.
And
One.
time is limited. We all have limited amounts of time, so
Sure.
sometimes these things will just, right.
Because I think you know about what it's going to say. The question is, how is it going to say it so that it's easy to read?
Yeah.
Great. So I will check back with you in September, hopefully. All right. Upcoming events. There are two things I want to mention to you that are coming up. One of them is, let's see. So one of them is coming up very soon at the end of, I wrote it down.
Thank you.
July 27th, which is a Sunday, from 6 to 7. And this is a film that was produced by Zach Damon, who is the the chair of the Disabilities Commission. And it's about the historic role that Ann Arbor has played in disability and accessibility. As you probably all know, they have handled policies around disability. We handle discrimination because of disability. So we're close.
Yeah.
And Zach is a filmmaker, and it sounds like a good thing to see. This is at the Ann Arbor Library from 6 to 7. And
Do you know which library?
yeah, the main, the
Downtown.
fifth
Yeah,
one,
the
Fifth Street,
downtown
yeah.
branch.
Secondly, there is the Ann Arbor Pride Festival. We have put in a request to become a vendor. We have not heard from them, but they seem to be late doing everything, so we don't know. And what I think I think you told me, Kennedy, that we won't hear if we don't get approved, and we will if they do. This is a group that has had, I have seen 3 numbers so far, that they had 100, 150, and 200 vendors last year.
Wow.
But whatever it was a lot more than ours, than anything we've been to, and they're expecting 10 to 15,000 people. So it would be nice to do this. It is on August 2nd from, I think, noon to 9. And I know that Linda reached out and got some idea of who could man the tables or handle the tabling. So if we hear, we will talk to the people who said they would be available. If not, we won't. I don't know when the last time we'll not know. But the information, the stuff that Vanessa was going to do to help us with a list of what we ought to remember and what we ought to do differently would be really nice if we could do right away. Because just in case we can do something to make our tabling more effective, if we should table. That is all that's on my agenda. Any questions about any of these?
Sorry.
Any commissioner communications? Things that you want to tell us that you're doing, or a meeting that you think we should be interested in, or any kind of communications? Because otherwise I'm going to end this meeting.
Bless you.
Sorry, my allergies were bad.
Stop apologizing.
Okay, so can we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
That's the one I always do.
That was a quick one.
What's it-